Inside of this video, you're going to see a very short 5 to 10 minute Q&A session that I hosted with Jordan, who's one of my coaching students. In this, we actually dive into my story, my journey, and how I went from zero to making over $1 million online. It's going to be a good video. I hope you get a lot of value from this, and if you do enjoy it, do leave a like, make sure to subscribe, and without further ado, let's get into the video. Alright guys, welcome to 5 minutes of value. We're just going to go through some commonly asked questions that I get about my agency journey. And yeah, it's going to be 5 minutes. Enjoy the value.
Yeah, so I guess to start off, there's definitely a pretty common question, something I thought about as well.
Mm-hmm.
But it's because you mentioned a lot as well that you went from 0 to, what was it, 10K? It was
10K.
0 to 10K in 45 days.
Yeah.
Okay, so go into a little bit of detail about that, because
Let's do it.
I'd love to hear what was that like, because I can imagine that's pretty intense. Especially
for sure.
starting off, you've maybe had a few calls, you maybe talked to a few prospects, and then all of a sudden you're signing clients on a daily basis. So just tell me a little bit about that, because that's I'm sure a lot of people would be interested to hear.
Yeah, for sure. It's a common question for sure, because it's a big claim, right? 0 to 10K a month, not just 10K, 10K a month, and it's actually around, I think it was 12K euro, so that's roughly $15K dollars, and yeah, 45 days, very, very short period of time. So I guess the first thing that I want to say is it was stressful. A lot of people have the picture, right, of the rosy picture. It was all amazing. It's all just the money. It's not really. Yes, the money's coming in, but you've got to serve all the clients. You realize all the systems that you don't have built, and that now you have to go and build. And I think that's the biggest thing to understand, is that when you see me or anybody else saying that they went from 10 to 20K or 20 to 30K, there was probably a lot of things that broke, right? A lot of systems broke, maybe people that they then had to hire really quickly without actually vetting them properly because they had an influx of clients. So I think that's the main thing I want to get across, is that it's not sexy. It is a nasty process, but it's a beautiful chaos, because you learn so much from going through that.
That's true, yeah. Yeah, so like you said there, you learn so much, so that before that, because I think a lot of people can get caught up in building all these systems before they sign a client, and I think I was getting caught up in that as well, definitely, because you think I have to have all these systems for things to run smoothly. But the reality of everything is it's not going to be smooth no matter what.
Sure.
So you might as well just go straight into it, and then as you said, build the systems afterwards. So how did you find that? What was the kind of the first thing you went into to build? Was it outreach, or was it
or something else?
Or what was it that you tried to take the pressure off at the start? What was kind of the first thing?
That's a really good question. I've actually never even gone into that of what was the first thing. But yeah, like you said, when we even talked about this, because Jordan signed his first client, and he was going through what systems do I need, what do I need to have for my client when they come on board, and I kind of told you don't worry about it, let the chaos happen. Obviously send an onboarding form, get what you need, book in an onboarding call, and just kind of figure out from there. Because the first time you go and onboard a client, you'll realize that there's probably things that you didn't take into account when you were building your system, and there's also a lot of things that you just didn't need to include, and you might be wasting the prospect's time. So basically, I agree, you don't need to have all the systems straight away. It's better to build them after you've gone through the pain of knowing what it's like to not have it systematized.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense, because that makes you want to systematize it more.
Exactly.
As well, you mentioned too that it actually shows you exactly what you need to systematize, rather than
what you think you need.
Yeah, what you think you need, because what I was doing there for my first client, I was just going through how can I kind of systematize the onboarding process, what kind of questions should I ask them, in the form, or maybe get them to fill out a persona for their ideal customer, and just all of these different things, which are definitely essential, but maybe a little bit down the line, maybe for now,
for sure,
do it all in the onboarding call. Do it where we can just I just get used to seeing what the kind of patterns are with this particular niche. So yeah, absolutely, man, absolutely.
Definitely. And like that is how, like you said, it's you do it, right? And you see what's painful, right? Like what do you not like doing, what takes a lot of your time, and what's just unnecessary. And that's where you build the systems. So like there's kind of like a framework. It's a 3-part framework, which is super easy to understand. When you have any task in your business, before you delegate it, before you automate it, you must first see what can I eliminate. So it's like this 3-step process, right? You look at the entire business. Let's say you do 100 things, right, on a daily basis. First, you eliminate the things that just don't need to be done. Complete waste of time. They don't serve any purpose. They don't keep clients on, and they don't sign new clients. Get rid of it. Like just get rid of it, right? A lot of people have like little admin tasks that they do. Complete waste of time a lot of times. So that's the first thing. You eliminate what you don't need. Then you start to automate. Because automating is cheaper than delegating. Delegating is when you say, hey, I'm going to hire someone. Here's the task. Here's what you got to do. That's obviously a lot more expensive than if you can find a Zapier automation that will automate it and just cut that person out completely. So that's the process we used. I didn't, follow it like to that degree, but that's when I look at it now, that's what it was. It was you eliminate some, you automate what you can. And then when you need a human, like a VA or a client manager or a designer, that's when you start to delegate those tasks.
Okay, so we'll move on to the next question. So yeah, let's go right into sales. Okay, I'm sure everybody is really, really interested in a little bit more about sales. So, okay, what would you say would be the top 3 things to remember when you're going into, say, one of your first few sales calls? Maybe not your first, or like for all of the first few sales calls.
Yeah.
What's the 3 tips that would really set someone up for more success than they would if they didn't have these tips, let's say?
Okay, let's do it. Okay, 3 off the top of my head. This is not scripted, not structured. This is literally off the dome. Okay, so point number 1 is work on your confidence. Simple as. If you're going to go into a sales call, you can't be sitting there with like, your camera off and your voice being extremely shaky. Look, it might be a little bit at the start, and that is natural, that's normal, but practice it. Like send voice messages to your friends, call people instead of texting them, like do these little things so that you get used to speaking on the phone, potentially on, let's say, FaceTime and on camera. That's number 1. You got to be confident. Point number 2, I would say, is priming the prospect before they get on the call. Okay, so it's very common where someone books a call. Let's say we booked a call on Monday and the call is booked in for Friday. Okay, it's very, very, very common where an agency owner will do nothing for that time period. Nothing happens. There's no communication. Like that's a long time. That's 4 days where they booked a call with you and they've no idea what to expect. They've no idea what they should be looking into. So you want to prime your prospects. Little things you can do is you send them a voice message maybe a couple days beforehand or the day of the call. Literally just saying like, hey John, just making sure you're still on for our call. We're going to talk about X, Y, and Z. Have a think about these topics, and I'll definitely give you some value on that.
Really builds the rapport as well.
Really does, man. Really does.
Get them to hear your voice too. If you haven't sent a voice note already.
100%.
Because it's just getting that familiarity
for
again,
sure. Yeah. Because if they know, kind of like half know you before they come on the call, that's obviously a lot better. It also helps in terms of closing the deal, right? Because if you could send them an additional case study, or you've got a bonus guide, or just some extra info that you can send to them, like send that over, get it in their hands, and it's just going to make the process much, much better. And then I guess finally then, we've looked at becoming a little bit more confident, priming your prospects. And then the third thing really is going in with your solution. We talked about this you're not selling a service, you're not just doing marketing. You have to basically sell the transformation and the solution to their problem. So if you're doing content creation, you're not just selling content, right? You're selling them saved time, better engagement, more sales, content that they can use in their emails, in their Instagram, many, many places that will also bring them revenue, right? So that's like a solution that's not like just content. And you got to look at it that way. So those are the 3 sales tips.
And just to go, like maybe develop that a little bit more. Like, I mean, I remember there was one thing when I got started with like affiliate marketing, and I was, obviously getting used to or getting ready to go on sales calls and stuff. I was confident to a degree. I mean, everyone kind of has their own level of confidence. But one thing that I did to get more confident, especially on camera, was to just record myself doing daily things throughout the like. So I just like be working or maybe I'm having a conversation with one of my family members, and I would just record it. Like, it might sound crazy, but it was
makes
just
sense.
like now I know I'm on camera, so I'm like, kind of just aware. And then I used to just record myself just saying something to the camera.
Nice.
I wouldn't even post it or something. Then I started to make TikToks, and it just kind of like it snowballs. So was there anything that you did that was like maybe similar to that, or anything in particular to gain confidence? Maybe one or two things that really stuck out to you,
Very similar to what you did, man. Like I used to do a lot of voice messaging for my outreach at the start, which I know definitely helped get more confidence, but it also helps just like getting the first few clients in the door. That was one thing I did. I used to send some Loom videos. Like, if someone, let's say, had questions, and I couldn't explain it all in a voice message, go ahead and send a Loom video. Right. True. Again, it just got me into that frame of mind of I'm kind of doing a mini sales call in a 2-minute video, and getting across all my key points. Like you said, I think just like recording yourself is really key. I was doing freelancing at the time, so I had been on, some calls, some of the clients I'd gotten were from like email and random places. Some of them were from calls. So I had a little bit of experience. I did actually do, I worked with a freelance, I worked freelance for a fitness influencer, right? And I was doing a whole bunch of things. And one of the things I did for him for, I think it was about 2 months, was basically closing some high ticket fitness coaching packages that he was doing. Now, I wasn't very good at it, but I closed him a couple of deals, and it got me into the process of speaking with a random person. And it was good because they didn't know who I was, right? They didn't know who I was, and it was just, I was calling them up to see if they could then book in a sales call with the fitness influencer, where they'd go deeper into the problem. It's kind of like that bridge call, like 10-15 minutes, and that definitely helped as well.
It's a nice way to start, definitely, because I mean, it's not all the pressure's on you. You're kind of like, you're just bridging that gap, which is again gets really great experience. So I mean, that definitely made a huge difference.
For sure. And we're gonna have to cut the value there, guys. I have to hop on a quick Slack call with 2 of my team members, so we're gonna go do that, and we'll pick up the value very, very soon.